Hey, what's up? Yo, Dr. Dan. It's me and Dylan again. I know, favorite
Hello.
students in the entire class. Been with you since day one at CBU. We're going to kind of showcase our embedded project, first project of the semester here. I'm going to go through and kind of give you a laydown of what the code looks like. So up here we have all of our variables, right? Stuff we've done before with the API key. Don't steal our API key. We know you have a bunch of vulnerable ones. We don't need one more. Wi-Fi network name and stuff's there, right? The delay, all this stuff that we talked about in class. When you get down to about here, this is where stuff that we've added comes in. So has data and is redrawing are going to be used by the temperature. So when we're converting from Celsius to Fahrenheit, that's what those two use. The weather mode is how we are actually currently swapping between screens. So you can, or actually weather mode, sorry, I misspoke. That's a different enum. We'll get to that enum eventually. Weather mode is the Celsius and Fahrenheit. Obviously, to see which mode we're currently in, we set the default to Fahrenheit. If you go down here, right, we got the zip codes and stuff, timestamp as well, that's here, and this is the timestamp library. We go down here, we have the 5 ints for each letter of the zip code. We did 5 so we could increment each of those individually as opposed to just 1 int. You could not do that. These are all of the different hot zones that we made, so they're a little messy here, admittedly, but we did do this in class with the snowman, so I figured it was okay to do it here as well. We're defining all of the different hot zones there. Now down here, this is where we're declaring all of our methods. Get time is just what we use to get the current time for the timestamp. And then setup here is just setting up the Wi-Fi connection. We're going to be looping through. The first thing it does, right, is check what screen we're on. In this case, the current screen. If it's the temperature screen, we're going to draw the weather screen. If it's the zip screen, we're going to draw the zip screen. Here's all the drawing for that. This is checking for each hot zone press to increase or decrease. The fetch weather details is the separated method for the API call, so you don't have to call the API every time you draw the screen. You can do that independently. Down here we have a couple of helper methods, one for increasing the value of a zip code, one for decreasing the value of a zip code. We have the value to actually draw the zip display, which is going to be just filling the screen with black, and then calling on these 2 helper methods, one down here to draw the numbers of the zip code, and then one to draw the buttons of the zip code. And now down here, this is, again, we didn't touch this a whole lot other than add our timestamp. We have the draw weather display, which is, again, the one you defined for us at the beginning. And then we have all of the timestamp and whatnot being drawn here as well. Draw weather image, again, didn't modify that. And that about wraps up our code review. And now I'm going to pass it to Dylan to do the demonstration.
Yay. What's up, Dr. Dan? So now I'm going to be doing the example of the actual M5 with what Jake just talked about in the code. As you can see here, this is our redesign for the weather display screen. Instead of it being that ugly dark navy color, we switched it to a light gray with a black primary text color for the city name, the average temperature, or the current temperature, and then the timestamp. And as you can see down here, this is the timestamp, and you can see that the seconds is updating every time the API is called, and this is in UTC time. And if you click button A, it's switching from Celsius to Fahrenheit, and again, and again. And so now this is for the Washington city, and if we click button B, if my fat finger can get it, you can see this takes us to our zip screen, and our current zip is for Washington. And so now I'm going to change the zip for Chino. Jesus. 9 1 7 0 8. So this is the zip for Chino. And if we click button B again, it'll take us back to the weather display screen, and it'll have the city of Chino, the current temperature in Fahrenheit, and if you switch to Celsius, it'll show it in Celsius. We have the timestamp pulling that data, and that is pretty much the entire example of the M5. So yeah, thanks for watching.